Welcome to part 2 of my Metal Gear review for the Nintendo NES. And this is about where we left off on the first segment. And this is Building 1. There were some rations on the side there, so I kind of load up on them because the video you are seeing is actually like my third run through in this area, and it's extremely difficult. We often get fooled that because a game is kind of on the older side, maybe 20 years old or so, and the graphics don't look stellar by any means, but we often get fooled into thinking that because of these two things the game is rather easy, and definitely not so with Metal Gear. Metal Gear is an extremely difficult game. It's extremely challenging, so much so that it may frustrate some people who have never played it before, and they may hate it for that reason. They may just think it's garbage, but it's actually a very, very, very challenging game. Now you'll see me employ a strategy I like to call the run like a bitch technique, which you might want to try yourself if you're playing Metal Gear, especially in these early stages, because you can quickly become overrun by enemies and die, at least at this point in the game where your energy bar is pretty low. And I love that. I don't even know what that means. Okay, your turn. And the guard just walks away. Like, does he think I work there or something? And, you know, it's his turn to go home on his shift and it's my turn to work. Doesn't he realize I'm infiltrating his base? I'd like to mention something also that I might not have mentioned in the first part of this series on the review of Metal Gear, and that's that there is no points in Metal Gear, which is a break from the tradition as far as games of the time are concerned. There is no way of keeping track of points, but you have a rank, and right now you're a 1-star. And your rank determines how much ammunition you can hold for each of the categories, and it also determines how big your life bar is. So the higher your rank, the more life bar you have, and the more damage you can sustain from that. And it's also nice to hold, you know, more ammunition. You can't go wrong there. There's a couple of quirks to playing Metal Gear that you've probably noticed by now, and that's that you can only equip one item and one weapon at a time, which, you know, may seem reasonable until you have to actually equip each key card for certain doors. And some levels you use 2 or 3 different key cards for different doors in the rooms, and things like the gas mask that you know, conceivably could just have equipped all the time. But that's more of an annoyance, so you'll find yourself thumbing through the items menus half the time you're playing. But that's half the puzzle of this game, and this game really is more a puzzle game than anything else. I mean, yeah, it's a shooter, and a stealth shooter at that, but more than anything, it's a puzzle. And it's how to figure out how to get past obstacles. It's not a skillful shot gets you past the obstacles. It's actually, you got to think about what you're doing and think logically on how to get past the, you know, to the next stage. Incidentally, You get to really feel the power of weaponry in this game. That dreaded alert sound and the stream of enemy soldiers running in would certainly have made me sweat earlier in the game when I didn't have a gun. But that gun just made short work of them. It was no problem. One bullet, one shot, one kill, which is way more realistic than some of the games at the time where you just had to shoot like 400 times. So unrealistic. You might as well be throwing rocks at the guy instead of bullets. And also in Metal Gear, just because you have a gun doesn't necessarily mean you should be using it. And if you're a fan of the later games in the series, you know this already, but it bears mentioning, that if you fire a gun without a silencer, that the enemies will, be alerted. And I always like that you could kind of creep along the wall the camera is on and it won't see you because you're too close to the wall and you're not quite in the range of the camera yet, which was pretty creative on the game programmer's part. This is the second time that Big Boss has mentioned that I should see Schneider about something in the game on the transceiver, and I don't know who Schneider is, and I don't remember who he is, and I can't seem to find him. But I seem to do all right just finding these things on my own. So yeah, I don't know if it's Schneider from what was that television show? One Day at a Time, maybe, I forget. But there was a television show in the 70s that had a Schneider in it, and that's who I envision I have to find. And incidentally, you're going to see a lot of editing because you're doing a lot of backtracking in this game. Sometimes 2, 3, and 4 times through an area, and which sucks sometimes because the enemies reappear after you kill them when you go back onto the screens. But here we have the remote control missiles, which disabled the electrified floor, which is an awesome feature. Not just the electrified floors that are awesome, but the fact that you have a remote controlled missile. I mean, there's no cooler weapon than that. Right up here is about where I died. And in fact, right here is where I died. And I got pretty far into the building 1 here. But there's more to come. This game, like I said, is an incredibly long and complex game. It can't be reviewed in one 10-minute clip. So, join me for the next installment of my Metal Gear review. I'm your host, Dommy, for Classic Games Revisited. Until next time, and if you'd like, play along at home. There's the pass key, and you can pick up where I left off and see if you can find anything that I didn't find.